Hello, it's Janice Webber, the Creativity Unblocker, back again. We're going to talk about creative flow. And I know a bunch of you are going to go, I'm not an artist. That's not what this is about. Nope. It's one of the biggest misunderstood term, creativity and creative flow, that I've ever come across. So, creativity and creative flow are about curiosity, experimentation, problem solving, play, all of that. Because when I was a kid, we used to play all the time. We would be problem solving, being innovative, we would be curious, we were doing experiments. I still remember the day I created ice. I went into the cupboard and put a bunch of liquids together, mixed them up in a container, took them outside and poured them on the driveway, and it was still liquid. I came back the next day, and you know what happened? That became ice. What I didn't know is the temperature had dropped and changed the liquid to ice, right? No. Me as a kid went, oh my God, I created ice. I went upstairs to tell my mom, and I'm sure she was just trying to keep it together and not chuckle, because who would have thought that these liquids would become ice? I was too young to know that. We hadn't talked about it in school or anything like that. And there we had it. I was like, oh, wow. That's not necessarily the innovative part I'm talking about, but this is what kids do. They think all kinds of things are possible, and it's amazing. So, creativity and creative flow are not about being an artist, artistic. They're not about being a writer. And yes, we're having my dog barking behind me, so I'm going to stop for a minute. Hi again. My dogs needed a little bit of attention, and I've got that in a video I'll be sharing. But when you pet an animal, it calms you down and it calms them down. So I don't know who of us needed more calming down, but they decided they needed the attention. So there we go. We're talking about the creative reset. So sometimes things pull you away and you have a different perspective after you've pet the animal on being calm. We've talked about that before. Now, what I love to do, and I've done it since I was a kid in school, I love taking a piece of paper, a pencil or a pen, and I love to doodle. So I would doodle in the margins of my scribbler while the teacher was talking. And in those days, you would get in trouble for it. Now they know it helps you focus, and you end up accessing this creative side of your brain. So you go into creative flow. So, how's that for a thing? So, doodling is doing circles, squiggles, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. There's no right way, wrong way, no expectations of perfection or anything else. And what I like to do nowadays is I'll do my doodle and I'll think about my problem, because creative flow helps you with problem solving. So I will doodle and think about what I'm trying to problem solve. And I will start asking questions because you get curious. And before I know it, I've got an answer and I write it down. So it may be my question, it could be answer. The answer is just a way for me to trigger creative flow again. And it works like a charm. So when you're doodling, you aren't tied to an outcome. You're just getting curious, exploring, experimenting, you're problem solving, and there's all these possibilities because you've already gone into calm. So I'll often do this. I'll do my calming thing. I'll start to ask questions, but I'll pick up my pencil and a paper and I'll start going, okay, so what is this thing? Now, what is the basic thing I need to do? And where do I want to go? And all of a sudden it'll be there. Oh, okay, that's the answer. And it doesn't matter how your paper looks. It's that you got some of your problem solving, some of that curiosity tapped into, and you got clearer on what it is you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Okay? Because you start with calm. You need to get calm. Then you can start asking your questions for clarity. Then you get into creative flow and keep asking the questions. So what happens is you now have a way, once you've achieved creative flow, a way to solve problems, make decisions, move forward in a way that works for you. Because before you were stuck in survival mode. And that's what stress is for. It's to protect us so that we'll survive. But in today's world, the stressors don't immediately kill us because it's not a saber-toothed tiger or an elephant running at you or a shark coming at you because you're in the water. It's those everyday stressors of the customers that are a problem, the boss that's a problem, somebody else has been in your face, they've triggered, you just watched a scary movie which triggered you, and that's how scary movies work. They trigger our stress response. So it's all those things, and we're trying to get past all of that. And what happens as a result is we get stuck in survival mode, and that is chronic stress. So if you've liked exploring these 3 videos and you have more questions and you're trying to find out what is happening with you personally, I'll put the link in the comments for where you can come to the Creative Reset map when you're ready. And that way you'll have your plan of what to do to help you get out of the chronic stress you've been under, which has been interfering with your life in both work, in your home life, and your relationships, and even your money situations. So those are all the things that this can help you with. So we'll see you soon. And the next video is the one on the Creative Reset, why high achievers can't push their way back to capacity. So you'll have that to watch as well. So take care. All the best. Bye now.